I ended up being in 20K of credit card debt while being out of a job because of a scam. During this time of my life, I've experienced things like near homelessness and struggling to put food on the table for myself. I've also house hopped several times during this year. But looking back, as someone who now has a stable job, it gave me the opportunity to understand many things. And today, I want to show you what I learned. But first, let me give you a bit of context about myself. I tell stories about my life, particularly how I struggle with finances and finding an authentic career for myself. And I'm here to share my story to help you make better decisions. Growing up, money has always been an issue for my family. We weren't in poverty, but we were always $1 away. I remember my parents having numerous fights, like explosive fights about this, and it creates a sense of urgency around money. Throughout college and beyond, I've always been obsessed over the idea of financial stability. And when I got to college, I decided to major in computer science because at the time, I thought this would land me a job. Everything was going great. I got some great internships at top tier companies until 2023. I'm hearing about all these layoffs and I'm hearing about how companies are on hiring freezes, and I'm just praying that nothing happens to me. As soon as I get back from a trip, this is January 2023, my coworker, he gets laid off out of nowhere. He is the hardest working coworker. He's laid off. And before I know it, my salary is cut to $20,000 a year. They just said because of budget constraints, like they're cutting hours from full-time to part-time, and they're giving some BS about how they can't support all these full-time engineers, even though they are making me work a full day, half of it with no pay. No one in their right mind is gonna take it. So I'm trying all these sites and I'm trying like LinkedIn referrals. I'm spamming applications. I'm not even finding like jobs at this point. The market is so bad. And at this point, I'm so desperate because I need something. Like I could be fired at any moment, and my rent shoots up to $2,000 a month with a 20K a year job. Like I'm paying to do free labor. That just does not sit well with me. I mean, I like my work, but at the same time, no one's gonna pay to do free labor, right? So then someone reaches out to me. They said they're from a recruiting agency. They want to help me find a job. Like the Green Goblin and Spider-Man. I surrender. They set me up with this data scientist job at this top tier healthcare firm. And I'm thinking this is legit at the time. They're charging me administrative fees. And it's not like they're charging one in lump sums. It's kind of like they're charging me incrementally over time where I don't even notice like what's happening. I'm so desperate. Over the next 6 months, I end up paying them tens of thousands of dollars to help them set me up with a job. And they keep changing the start dates around for the next 6 months. And I keep thinking, I'm gonna start, but there's always some delay. After the 6 month mark, I'm realizing, wait, this is kind of a scam. This sounds way too good to be true. And this has been 6 months and I have not started my job yet. So the moment I confront them about the scam, they're gone. They're gone. Tens of thousands of dollars, all my savings, in addition to $20,000 of credit card payments, gone. I am now 20K underwater. So for the next 6 months or so, I am bouncing around apartment to apartment, even going back to my parents' place like 2 or 3 months. I'm even bouncing around 4 different countries in an effort to save money. Because I literally do not have any savings. I have no credit left. So I have to make every penny count. I mean, I'm grateful for this. My parents even have to step in and help me out financially. I would not be able to survive on my own 2 feet without it. I realized that, yes, it's important to save, but saving and being ultra frugal, which is while important at the situation, at the time, it can cost me more. Throughout my life, I realized I had worn like actually stained, like bleach stained and torn off clothes in public every single day. And I even went as far as to washing my suit in the laundry when you're supposed to dry clean it. And it actually cost me connections at like social events and networking events. Because obviously a lot of people look for like presentation and how you carry yourself. And that's influenced by how much you invest in your clothes as well as your appearance. And that just wasn't there. I even skipped the gym and lived off the most addictive, like processed foods I could find. And that actually led to pre-diabetes and completely messed up my hormones. And I'm realizing this reminded me of my parents, because I'm realizing my parents did the same exact thing. I remember my dad, he had a 20-year-old car that needed thousands of dollars in repairs. And at that point, it would actually make more sense to get a new car. He racked up the repairs and he drove that car because he thought it's just too expensive to get a new car, even though in the long run, it was actually cheaper. And obviously, driving that thing was such a pain in the ass. It just would not run all the time. That car was ready to give out at any moment. I'm also realizing that my parents' house, their walls it was structurally crumbling, but they did not spend money to do necessary repairs on it. And the problems just got worse and worse and worse. And we're gonna have to end up spending even more money than had we actually spent money on the repairs previously. I also realized that despite that it's important to invest in yourself, it's also important to do it wisely, because I've also made impulsive investments, such as falling for this job scam and spending my entire savings and credit, and it was a scam. So we have to be 100% intentional with how we invest. And I realized that I had to ask myself a few key questions when I invested in something. I had to make sure that whatever I spent it on would be worthwhile. So I had to first ask myself, will this help me grow and advance my goals? So I'm not spending this money on junk food that I don't need. I'm spending this money on store-bought whole foods that are minimally processed that will actually help my health in the future, not only physically, but also mentally as well. So I'm sharper in job interviews. I am sharper on camera. I'm sharper when networking. And I'm in the mood to carry myself properly, keep pushing through adversity. The second question I had to ask is there any real credibility? Is it like a shiny object? Is this too good to be true? Like, for instance, the job scam that I fell for, because I literally cannot fall for another job scam. I literally cannot fall for something with the illusion of helping my goals, even though it's doing the exact opposite. And because I was so desperate, I also had to ask myself, is this from clarity? And am I clear in what I'm investing in? Or am I investing out of fear and desperation? Because ultimately, the desperation and neediness of money ultimately got me in this situation. I also had to ask myself, is there a clear and realistic path to making the money back? Or is it just blind hope? And even though there is no clear path to making money, let's say it doesn't work out, God forbid, will I still be able to walk away with something valuable so that when the next opportunity comes, I will be in a better position to succeed? Because ultimately, even though it may not lead to me achieving my goals externally, will it still internally as a person help me out? And using this checklist, I've avoided so many bad decisions. Just having trust in whatever I spent and whatever I was doing actually encouraged my parents to help out. And this is when I least expected it. I thought I'd hit rock bottom. Whatever I do, whatever I spend on, it's gone. But I also especially learned that money comes back to you, especially when you least expect it. And I'm realizing, I feel like this really humbled and sharpened my mind and body, because I feel like I've become a lot more resilient. I mean, aside from that trust in the fact that money literally comes back to you, the fact that my parents literally offered to help out and keep me afloat. But it also gave me the strength that I would have never had gotten had everything gone according to plan. I would have been complacent, and who knows, down the road, something bad would have happened when I'm 40, because I would have never learned the lessons that I had to learn at a young age. And I also stopped avoiding failure and instead trying to embrace it. I mean, obviously it hurts. Avoiding failure is kind of like a drug, where it's you want that comfort and you want that trust that everything's gonna be successful. But instead, I realized that failure is an inevitable process, and I leaned into what it was trying to teach me. I mean, ultimately, I learned how to present myself. I learned how to make long-term, but also impactful financial decisions through getting actual interview courses and investing money in networking and learning interview skills and job search skills from other people. And this inevitably landed me the job I have right now. And I'm forever grateful. And who knows, I may fail in the future, but I'm also walking with more confidence that failure is ultimately a turning point that will help me out in the long term. So if you're navigating your 20s like me through debt, confusion, lack of purpose, You have nothing going for you, like a lot of us don't. And you're faced with the pressure to just figure it out because obviously, our parents figured it out in their 20s, so why can't we? If you're struggling with this, I got you. Feel free to hit the subscribe button below. And also comment where you are in your journey. I want to start the discussion so we can all help each other out.